The Republican budget in Washington is squeezing Colorado to the point the governor says legislators need to come back to work and fix the state's budget gap. The city of Denver still isn't telling its employees how many of them are being laid off in a week and a half.
You kind of feel like a prisoner on death row. When is my day coming?
Tonight, together, we're helping the last refugees to make it into Colorado before the Trump administration shut down the program. Those new neighbors are at a crucial point in their new lives. And we'll catch up with the first Bluegrass band from Colorado picked to join exclusive company.
We sounded like Hot Rize and nobody else.
That's tonight on Next. Our state is at the point in the budget crisis where Dad calls the whole family around the kitchen table, announces that we are not going to Disney World after all, that he's canceling the HBO, and the dog is going to start eating store-brand food. The governor's bringing legislators back to the state capitol for a special session to fix the budget mess. Our Marshall Zellinger explains their options.
This is H.R. 1.
At a quarter a page, this prop just put Colorado's budget back another $750. That is how Democratic Governor Jared Polis alerted lawmakers they're back to work in 2 weeks to close an $800 million budget gap as a result of tax policy changes from a Republican-led Congress in Washington, which has taken Colorado from a Tabor refund year to cuts.
Every Coloradan was going to get a taxpayer refund. There was about a $300 million surplus based on estimates.
Now, Polis is asking lawmakers to use some reserve piggy bank money, make cuts in different departments, and close state tax loopholes that will bring in more money from corporations getting a federal tax break. But if there are loopholes, why aren't they already closed?
When there's not an urgency to do it, I think people are less likely to do it.
For instance, an audit from March found that a tax credit for insurance companies is not incentivizing job growth like it was intended. Insurance companies that do a substantial amount of their business in-state or have a certain number of employees in Colorado get a state tax break. The audit found that between 2022 and 2024, 15 of the 18 insurance companies that got the tax break collectively saved $17 million while cutting 4,300 jobs.
We should make sure that tax policy is meeting the goals of what they're doing. And if tax policy isn't meeting the goal, we should eliminate those and see, are there other credits that we need to be able to do?
State Budget Director Mark Ferrandino estimated changing that tax credit would bring in $60 million in tax revenue. Because of Tabor, tax policy changes have to wait until the next tax year. So how does anything that has to wait until 2026 help this year's budget?
Because of how we do taxes, we look at that April 15th filing date, but that's not actually what happens. Companies pay quarterly payments on what they're doing, and they pay estimated payments. All of that's coming in through the year.
Because Colorado's budget is July to June, 2026 tax changes will still benefit half of the state budget year. There are other aspects of this special session, too. Polis has asked lawmakers to change state law to allow Medicaid patients to continue to use Planned Parenthood for non-abortion-related services, a change that was made at the federal level. And lawmakers are also being asked to tweak the Healthy School Meals for All ballot question to not only fund school lunches, but also pay for food assistance benefits, since the federal government is also changing the reimbursement on that.
If we really are checking the couch cushions for loose change, I recall that the governor was going to spend $8.5 million more in discretionary funds on that horrendous bridge idea that he no longer is going to follow through with. There's some money.
He spent $1.5 million on the schematics and all that stuff, and I believe that money could have been used toward this shortfall. So in reverse logic, the $7 million that wasn't spent could also go there.
It's never too late to make the right decision, Marshall. Thank you. So the governor picks the topics to be discussed in a special session. Legislators can't just go off and do whatever they want. And Polis is also calling for a reconsideration of Colorado's first-in-the-nation regulations on artificial intelligence. Last year, Democrats, including Polis, passed a new law requiring companies to disclose when they are using AI to make decisions regarding employment, housing, and loans. The bill also directs companies to make sure their AI systems are not discriminating against consumers based on factors like race and sexuality. Governor Polis signed that bill but asked for some tweaks. Polis and AI companies say the bill goes too far, it'll hurt innovation. The rules are set to go into effect next February. Colorado's House Republicans are again facing claims about inappropriate conduct toward women in the workplace. A Democratic legislator says she's facing harassment online over a photo that was taken and shared by her Republican colleagues in an attempt to mock her. Colorado Public Radio uncovered the group chat among Republican House members where they shared a photo of Democratic Representative Yara Zokai, commenting that she looked like a stripper and a prostitute. The photo was shared outside the group and is now regularly posted on social media by anonymous trolls. When Zokai and Democratic House leadership raised concerns that she was being targeted with inappropriate comments and threats online, CPR reports that House Republican leaders brushed off those concerns. Republicans at the Colorado State Capitol have been making a habit of demeaning women. An odd political strategy to insult half the population, but there is a chance that we are not talking about tactical geniuses here. Because in this latest instance, reported by CPR News, as Republican legislators used their group chat to circulate a photo of a female colleague comparing her to a prostitute and a stripper, Republican leadership had to remind them that those messages could become public under open records law. Then there's Republican State Rep Ron Weinberg, who denies misconduct accusations from woman after woman after a woman. One woman said Weinberg announced to her husband in front of her, "I'm going to F your wife." A second woman said that Weinberg told her, "I'd put my blank in your mouth." A third woman said the representative warned that if a woman ran against him, he would kick her in the blank. If those accusations are true, Ron Weinberg is a serial creep, and he also talks like a 13-year-old boy who gets a thrill out of saying naughty words. But it's not just Republican men at the state capitol objectifying women. The GOP text chain reported on by CPR News shows similar insults, prostitute, stripper, coming from the women and the Republican caucus. Caucus. Ron Weinberg probably thinks that's a pretty funny word. And Democratic women are not the only targets here. All of Weinberg's accusers are other Republicans. And then you got former state rep Richard Holtorf, who ran against Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, saying that Boebert dresses like a prostitute. Boebert beat the pants off Holtorf. Stop giggling, Ron Weinberg. But Holtorf just got elected to the number 2 spot in the state GOP. Didn't hurt him. This state has some serious problems. And Republicans are struggling to find serious people to deal with them. Colorado deserves better leadership than a cafeteria table full of the meanest girls and most immature guys you remember from high school. They never grew up. They just got elected to sit together at the cafeteria at the state capitol. So surprises are fun, unless you're a City of Denver employee about to get surprised with the loss of your job. We're a week and a half out from planned layoffs, and the city still won't say how many employees are going to get the most unpleasant surprise. Our Mark Salinger keeps asking.
This is changing the rules of the game.
We met Michael Wallen outside Denver's City and County building.
I do enjoy my job. I love my job.
He's worked for the city for 14 years in the Department of Transportation and Infrastructure. He's also the president of the AFS-CME Local Union 158.
It's nerve-wracking. It is very stressful for all the employees right now.
Inside the offices behind him, decisions are being made about whether he'll keep his job or how many of his co-workers will lose theirs.
You kind of feel like a prisoner on death row. You know, when is my day coming?
Just 12 days before the layoffs will be announced, the mayor's office still won't say how many people will lose their jobs and in which departments. But rumors are circulating among city employees nervous about what might happen.
We have not been given a number, but scuttlebutt is about 15% of employees.
How many would that be?
Over 1,000, I would say.
That's a lot.
That is a lot.
Those are the rumors. We asked the mayor's office to refute or confirm the numbers the union is hearing. They wouldn't, saying they don't have final numbers yet and will share the final decisions with employees first once they're made.
Is it going to be me? Is it going to be you? Look to the person to your left, look to the person to your right. One of them's not going to be here in 2 weeks.
The rules for who is laid off first just changed. The city will now prioritize performance over tenure, concerning a union still trying to figure out how many people will soon be told they no longer have a job.
You know, it's a bigger picture than just, an employee losing their job. It's going to ripple through the entire Denver economy.
We've tried for days, if not weeks, to get an answer on how many people will be laid off. City council members don't know. The union doesn't know. The mayor's office says they're still trying to figure it out as well. Again, Kyle, these layoffs begin in a week and a half, 12 days from today.
Mark, I haven't heard anybody suggest that it's wrong for Denver to look at layoffs, right? They're doing budget cuts and employee costs are a large portion of the city budget. But then there's this element of cruelty that in some way feels unnecessary, the way that it's being teased in front of people as the day ticks closer and closer.
And we have that day. It's August 18th that the mayor says that week everybody will be notified whether they have a job or they don't. And if it is indeed, like the union is saying, hundreds of people that are losing their jobs, like you said, Kyle, it's a heck of a surprise to find out on your way into work.
Yeah, it's brutal. All right, Mark Salinger, thank you. Colorado has a decades-long tradition of welcoming refugees. And there was a race to bring in vetted refugees right before the Trump administration shut down that program. There were 137 refugees who came to Colorado, mostly from Afghanistan, right under the deadline. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports the work of the nonprofit Jewish Family Services and their Refugee Assistance Program. JFS helps those refugees get accustomed to their life here in their new homes, getting them oriented to living in Colorado. Everything from how to find a place to stay, to job training, to the little things that might be confusing to navigate in a new land, transportation, shopping, what to do if they have an emergency. Those final refugees allowed into Colorado before the shutdown are at a crucial moment in their lives because they have been here for almost a year. They're transitioning now from their first stabilizing job, just take anything, right, to finding something more long-term, best suited for their talents. JFS is helping in particular refugee women who have never worked outside the home, helping them turn their skills into entrepreneurship and income, whether that is cooking or whether that's tailoring, whether that's doing craft work. These same families are often preparing to move from their first rental place to somewhere that they can call home for years to come. It's a crucial part of their process, and JFS is with them every step of the way. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get the link to donate. Your 5 years of microgiving raising $15 million proves how $5 donations add up, and you know the deal. I will never ask you to give alone, so as always, I'll match the first 50 donations of $5 to get us rolling. More than 5,000 of you have signed up to make a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You put in your info once, and each month, the donation amount of your choice is automatically split among all the nonprofits we feature. So you help everybody. And it has started those recent microgiving campaigns, about $35,000 in donations. We're watching another round of wildfires on the western slope as an entire town prepares to evacuate. And a bluegrass group from Colorado finally getting recognized for their pioneering sound.
I think Hot Rise opened a lot of doors for Colorado musicians in a variety of traditions, but particularly in bluegrass.
And now Hot Rise is headed for the Hall of Fame. That's next. People in and around Meeker in Rio Blanco County, way up northwest, are on alert right now. They're evacuating or preparing to ahead of two rapidly growing wildfires. Governors issued disaster declarations for the Lee and Elk fires to free up state resources. The Rio Blanco Sheriff's Office told the entire town of Meeker to get ready to leave this afternoon after the Lee fire jumped Highway 13. It's already forced evacuation south and west of town and made big runs yesterday, growing to about 35 square miles with no containment. There is a similar fire, the Elk fire, burning about 10 miles southeast of Meeker, about 8,000 acres, also burning uncontained. Both those fires, they say, were sparked by lightning. Meteorologist Chris Bianchi has been keeping an eye on, among other things, the poor air quality here on the Front Range as a result of those fires.
Yeah, and Kyle, if you're in Denver, you're not seeing it, but north of town in Fort Collins, you're certainly seeing it. This is the view from Horsetooth Reservoir. I will say this, a little glimmer of good news. This is the best I've seen this air quality in the last 2 days, so it gives you an idea of just how nasty that air quality has been around the Fort Collins area. In fact, earlier this afternoon, we had an 106 air quality index, which ranked it up there with some of the worst air quality amongst urban areas on Earth earlier today. So just to put into perspective how bad that air quality has been for Fort Collins. Unfortunately, again, the way that wildfire smoke works is it ebbs and flows, so we're seeing a little bit lighter smoke right now. I unfortunately don't expect that to last. Air quality alert, including Denver, through 4 p.m. tomorrow. So again, we'll see that kind of ebb and flow from that smoke. There are the Elk and Lee fires out here, and the smoke from that pushing its way across northern Colorado through Friday. It'll get better, though. later on this week, really for the weekend. Temperatures today, the other big story, 97, our third consecutive day at or above 97 for us in Denver. Fire weather warning, western slope for tomorrow, and for Denver, our wildfire danger will probably be highest for us on Friday here along the Front Range and through the foothills. We've got an weather impact alert for tomorrow because of the high heat. Tomorrow's going to be the hottest day of this stretch. I know, believe it or not, and it gets even hotter for tomorrow. It's going to be 99 tomorrow. That would tie a daily record. Then it finally cools down Saturday and Sunday.
For decades, Colorado's musicians have been shut out of the Bluegrass Hall of Fame. A trailblazing band from Boulder is going to change that. Next. Every June since 1973, Colorado has become the center of the bluegrass universe. The Telluride Bluegrass Festival gave countless bands a platform to play, and now one of those bands is getting an international recognition.
Colorado Bluegrass is respectful of the traditions.
Her blue eyes told me everything a man could want to know.
But welcoming to so many other styles and sounds and traditions too. Well, the name Hot Rise comes from a company, Martha White Flower, that was an advertiser on the Grand Ole Opry, and they supported bluegrass music. So it was kind of a bluegrass in-joke, and our banjo player, Pete Wernick, thought it would be a great name for a band. Oh, this one's pretty good. Our second time playing at Telluride, so that was 1979, and the band started in 1978. Charles Sautel was a really distinctive and remarkable guitar player, and I played electric bass, which was different. Here's one from a TV show we did in Nashville, probably in the 80s sometime. We had a great lead singer in Tim O'Brien, a really hard-driving banjo player in Pete Wernick. We sounded like Hot Rise and nobody else. And also to be lucky enough to have Brian Sutton be our guitar player for the last 20 years. It was recently announced that we're going to be inducted into the Bluegrass Hall of Fame. So it's pretty amazing. First band from Colorado to be inducted into the Bluegrass Hall of Fame. I think for Colorado, it's an acknowledgement that this new era of players and writers and singers who came from this part of the country can be recognized just as easily as people from North Carolina or Tennessee, you know, from places where bluegrass originated. It's really meaningful to have people look back and recognize the impact and the legacy that Hot Rise means to the bluegrass community at large. It's been an amazing run. I'm grateful for all of it.
You have to nod along with bluegrass. It's the law. We're back with your feedback next. They're the last refugees to make it into Colorado before the Trump administration shut down the program. 137 people, mostly from Afghanistan, extensively vetted, as are all refugees, resettled here in Colorado with the help of the nonprofit Jewish Family Services. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving project will help JFS continue their work assisting those families as they settle down here and thrive. That means training Afghan women on how they can use their talents as entrepreneurs in our community. It's about finding long-term housing for these families, good, stable jobs. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491 to get the link. Join me and a bunch of other Coloradans in donating to JFS's Refugee Assistance Program. A couple of people wrote in with feedback tonight about the fiery commentary and drawing a straight line to my post-vacation facial hair. No comment more colorful than that from Emily, who said, "I love your new attitude. I think it's awesome. I think it's the beard. You have 'Don't F with me' written all over your face. I love how you call out these sons of," I can't say that word, "all over the mother," I can't say that word either. I feel like I can cuss now with you. We'll see you next time.